So how did you and Greg reconnect?
So literally, I get a call from a helicopter buddy. He said, hey, man, like I tried to get into these mountains. I guess there's a lot going on. I couldn't get in because of the weather, but tomorrow they're saying they need help. My wife and I were taking the helicopter we just rebuilt to dinner. We bought it from Venezuela. I don't know if you know the story. No. That blue MD-500 I have, I bought it from Venezuela. Hadn't flown in 10 years. We fully rebuilt it on the channel and just got it done. It had like 5 hours on it or something, so I'm still doing the real thorough pre-flights on it, getting it, she's running good.
Yeah. How did you get a license?
I've already had my license. So I got my license in 2020.
Yeah.
Just because I've always loved helicopters. I was making videos with them when I was a kid,
Yep.
And now that I had a little bit of money, I said, I'm getting me a helicopter.
Yep.
So the MD was just a new project. I already had a helicopter. So I say to Maddie, I go, hey, like, this is a call I just got. She's giving me the look, which, you have a wife, the look of you're about to leave home for
a while,
a couple days.
Yeah.
And I just said, why don't you come with me? Let's go to dinner in North Carolina, because it's only 4 hours to get to you guys in a helicopter that is fast, which is what we got. So we flew up, and how
many fuel stops? None?
I think just one.
Yeah.
Just one fuel stop in that thing.
What do you if you're flying 4 hours, what's your altitude?
We're flying about maybe 500 to 1,000 AGL above the ground, just chilling. Unless there's a huge tailwind, I won't really go up high.
Gotcha.
But we're cruising in, and all of a sudden I'm like, there's no power. I'm like, it's black because it's nighttime now.
Oh, shoot.
I'm like, it is black. And I made a post of my helicopter at the fuel station or even on my pad at home or whatever, and I said, heading to North Carolina to see what's going on. And when we landed, it had like 10,000 shares. And I'm like, what? And my phone is exploding with my friends saying, I can't get a hold of my grandparents in Asheville or whatever. I'm like, what the heck? And then, so we're flying, and I'm like, and Biffle texts me too. And he only has my phone number because of their race.
Yeah.
But we'd only talk for 2 minutes, whatever. He says, hey, if you want to come stay at the house, that's fine. I said, no, don't worry. I already booked a hotel. And I was just going to land at the hotel or whatever in the parking lot next to it or something. And because it's, these crisis situations, you kind of get off the hook on where you landed your helicopters and whatnot.
More.
Well, the power's out in the whole Greenville area. Like, imagine you're just rolling in and all the lights stop. Mm-hmm. And I didn't expect that. So I had to call Biffle because the hotels were closed. And I go land in his yard.
In Lake Norman?
Or actually, I think I landed at Statesville that night, but then his yard the next night. And we just got dinner, made a game plan. This is him and I hanging out for the first time, essentially.
Ever.
And I realized in that moment that this dude is selfless. He is a guy that's willing to help people and go out of his way. We didn't know what we were getting into in the morning. I had put out my email, and I had probably 1,000 emails. My wife and I went through them systematically, marked them down on our flight, and in the morning we took off with water bottles that Greg had filled to the roof in the back of the helicopter, went in under this little cloud layer, and were just blown away at the damage that we saw. We immediately stopped, helped some people, dropped off the water, pulled some people out, got back in town, and I'm like, where was their cell service? And I just started calling people, got more helicopters, and we just flew all day for the next couple days, just helping people.
Thinking about how, I guess what you said about Greg being selfless, none of us knew that about Greg until recently.
Yeah.
When you're competitors on the track, you think of each other as very selfish.
Yeah.
And God, I like Greg, but, we race against each other. We're jerks.
Yep.
But we've learned just what kind of person he truly is down in the gut.
Yeah.
But I wondered, I guess, how dangerous that must have been for you all to be flying. I know you probably want to downplay it, but
it's the most dangerous flying you can do.
Yeah, over the course of the days, as more and more and more helicopters showed up, right? You guys are all
bad weather.
Yeah. flying all around each other and just in these terribly hilly conditions.
Incredible about that too is that there was 0 GA general aviation
Right.
accidents in the whole thing. How?
Yeah.
I don't understand. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
how much traffic control did you have, if at all?
Just in the vicinity of the airport.
Right.
That's it.
And once you left that area,
once you're 4 miles out,
you're on
your own. Now, my helicopter has traffic systems in it, but not everybody does.
Right.
And also, too, a lot of guys are in low-powered helicopters, right? In a race car, you run out of horsepower, you just stop at that speed. In a helicopter, you run out of horsepower, the rotor slows down, So that was scary enough seeing these low-powered piston helicopters around. But, brother, nobody wadded one up. I cannot. When I left, there was like 70 helicopters there, and I thought, there's no way there won't be an article later this week about one going down. There's just no way. Somehow all the pilots just did a fantastic job, and they're all it's amazing. But like you said, the dangerous flying, I mean, when you're hovering high above the ground, like to say there's a bunch of trees, you got to go right down on it. That is the most vulnerable position you can be in a helicopter. And we did it so many times. And then we're just pulling people out, so then you're going out heavy.
Right.
And when you have a high performance helicopter, it's fine. But like if anything goes wrong, you're toast. There's FOD everywhere. Like there's just debris and stuff.
Flying everywhere, yeah.
It was a recipe for disaster. But I don't know if God was on our sides for all these pilots or what. But I think it's a miracle that no one wadded one up.
Yeah, it's emotional just to think about it because of the obviously it was a terrible position for everybody to be in that was there. The property owners and the families that were struggling with all of the things that they were dealing with. But then for you guys to go in and risk yourselves and everything, you're
blind to it.
It doesn't.
You're totally blind to it.
I can't even comprehend.
When you pass over a spot and there's people on the ground waving their arms,
you're motivated.
The risk is gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't even cross your brain. And it's just,
how do you
it's just up to you and your skill at that point, I guess.
How do you, knowing that the job is never done, right?
Yeah.
How do you make the decision to leave?
So when we got back to the airport, Matt from Operation Hilo, I said, we had already been doing it for a few days, and we left for dinner. We were going to come back that night. Maddie's mom, bless her heart, Susie, shout out Susie, she was watching our kids, and then it turned into a 2-3 day thing. So she's skipping work to watch the kids. And,
back home.
Yeah, and so we really had to kind of get home. And I said, Matt, is there any calls right now that are people have to, it's critical, because we've been hauling insulin around and stuff, and he just didn't have any that were this has to happen right now. So that's when all those calls seemed to subside.
Yep.
We decided to go home.
Yeah.
But it was a sad ride home in some ways.
Was there a specific experience with an individual or a particular specific flight that was one that was touching?
I think there's a couple, and I try not to get choked up, because when I talk about it, I do. But maybe I'll be fine right now. It's Cattail Creek is a spot out there, and man, those guys just got drugged down so bad, and we were the first people they had seen. And I remember all the people at the fire station when we landed. We were the first people they had seen since, I think it happened Friday morning, and we were there Sunday. And they asked me to go up and look at some of these houses and see if there's people on the porch or whatever. And I remember flying, and there just wasn't any houses. And those moments were hard, man. It was sad, but we just continued to help people, and it was okay. We just did what we could, and I think it was pretty cool working with some of the people that really busted their butts to help others up the hill. I remember when we landed, I asked a guy to go clear more space, because I had just landed in a spot that was so tight, and I'm like, guys, I know they were putting in X's on the road. We landed, it was so freaking tight. And I said, brother, go open up a spot up the hill. I came back, dude, this guy had cut down a square acre. I was like, how'd this guy do this in an hour?
Yeah.
You know, people were going above and beyond because it was a literal life or death situation. And it was, that's just one of the many crazy things we saw.
How many times do people come up to you today to tell you thanks because of you know, some connection to a direct member of their family that you had encountered or helped? That's got to be pretty incredible. I know it has to happen.
Yeah, there's been definitely a lot of, you know, indirect, a few direct. Like we were on the news in Miami for picking these, you know, just a Florida couple up, you know, that was on their vacation home and, you know, random stuff. But I've never done anything in my life that I've been thanked so much for. And then the North Carolina helicopter flying, which is for sure not our intention. We didn't go there for this. And, you know, Greg and I talk about it all the time. Like, it is mind-blowing that it's still today, like, even at Daytona, so many people came up to Greg and I and said that. And we obviously appreciate everyone's thank yous, but helicopter pilots will fly for any reason, pretty much. Like, if my neighbor's dog is missing, I'll probably fly because I just love to get it out.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll do it, and especially if we get a mission where we can help people, like any of us pilots. I think I speak for all helicopter pilots. We just love flying.
Yeah.
So no thank you needed. We'll do it again in a heartbeat.